Opening an offshore bank account for a company can be confusing and difficult enough. But what if you want to open an offshore bank account for your offshore company from your couch in your living room? That can be even more difficult. I'm going to give you 5 examples of how you can do that in this video. Hi, I'm Andrew Henderson. It's important to understand the nature of offshore banking and the types of different accounts you can open. If you're going to open a personal account, that's going to be perceived generally as lower risk. It's going to be a bit more easy to do than opening a corporate account. If you're opening a corporate account for an offshore company, that's going to be a little bit more difficult because they want to do more KYC. Know your customer. If you're going to be opening an account in a different jurisdiction than where the company is, there's going to be additional paperwork and additional checks. And so all that stuff can be managed. You may need to know which banker to talk to, which bank to go to. In some cases, you may want a connection or to know somebody. But it's all manageable largely if you're willing to go there, hand them your passport, let them scan it, let them see your face, ask you some questions, and get a general sense of comfort that every banker wants in order to open an account. But what if you can't travel? Well, we've talked before about how remote bank account opening in this day and age is not my favorite thing to do. You're just going to get, in general, a lower quality bank, whether it's a lower quality jurisdiction that's perhaps a bit less stable, whether it's a bank that charges higher fees and offers fewer services, or in the case of this new Fintech services, banks that are just a bit less robust and probably not a place where I'd want to keep my entire multi-million-dollar life savings. But what I do want to do is share with you 5 banks that you can look at and decide, are these accounts that open remotely, are they for you? Are these accounts that you would be willing to have in exchange for not having to travel to the bank? So the first jurisdiction is in Belize. I have a personal relationship from being in the offshore conference space years ago with Key Bank on Ambergris Key, and they've always been very nice to me. Belize is a jurisdiction that will take pretty much any kind of company. They'll take Belize IBCs, they'll take your Hong Kong company, they'll take your Seychelles company. They're pretty straightforward and they're pretty open. Belize is certainly not the #1 offshore jurisdiction. There have been problems there before, but I think the people at Key Bank have done a pretty good job of customer service from our perspective. As a company that keeps a spreadsheet of about 600 different banks that we are in contact with every once in a while, that's a bank where you fill out their paperwork. It is certainly not a brief, but if you fill that out, you send it back, they will open the account through correspondence. And because they're in Belize and there's an Anglo nature to it and it's run by people who are from outside of Belize, you're going to get a bit more efficient service than you would from some of the islands. Number 2, Euro Pacific Bank in Puerto Rico. This is a bank that used to be down in the Caribbean, I guess still is, but moved up to Puerto Rico. They don't take U.S. citizens, and they've been switching over some of their software. Now people have had some concerns about that, but it is a bank that is, relatively easy to open an account with if you've got a company anywhere in the world. Lots of different currencies, more than a lot of these offshore banks offer. So if your goal is accepting payment in different currencies, even down to the Polish zloty, they can help you with that. That's one bank that you can certainly open remotely, as long as you're not American and as long as you're not on their list of other restricted countries or restricted residences, place where you live. They can open an account. It's going to take a little while, but you can do that remotely. Okay. Number 3, Capital Security Bank in the Cook Islands. The Cook Islands, well known as a jurisdiction for really high-level offshore trusts. It is where the world's wealthiest people go to establish their trusts and with a price tag to match. But there is a bank in the Cook Islands called Capital Security Bank. Like some of the other banks that are in this league, they do not make loans, so they are a 100% liquidity bank. Same with Euro Pacific. And if you have $20,000 to put into account, they will open an account for you. And there are, again, some restrictions on that. There is some paperwork to do, but you do not need to fly to the Cook Islands to do it. 4 and 5 are these Fintech offerings, and they are in Hong Kong. They are neat, and they are currency, which are solutions that piggyback off existing banks in Hong Kong, basically is money services businesses. So they have an infrastructure with actual quote-unquote banks, and they offer you a segregated sub-account within their own framework to store your money. So I know a lot of people who are setting up companies, active trading companies, Amazon, ebook sales, information marketing kind of stuff, are going to these institutions and using them because it's easy to plug into your PayPal and stuff like that. The challenge that I see is I have seen some people get rejected by them. I'm not sure that it's necessarily robust for what people who are at the 6- and 7-figure entrepreneur level are always looking for. There are certain things that you can do, certain things you can't do. I remember we talked to the folks at Neat, and I said, hey, we're going to be looking at doing some things in Colombia. Yeah, can't send money to Colombia. So you're going to have more restrictions because they're technically not banks. That comes with some pros, it comes with some cons. My opinion overall is that remote account opening is something that is best avoided for the reason that you're going to get a stronger bank with lower fees, more robust offerings, better service, better online banking, by simply finding a bank in a jurisdiction where you go to. What the challenge with many offshore jurisdictions, particularly those in the Caribbean and similar, is that they're giving you kind of minimal viable infrastructure, whether it's online banking, wire sending, whatever, minimum viable infrastructure for a bank with maximum fees. Some of these banks, and some of the ones we haven't talked about here, their fees are incredible. How about paying $120 to receive a wire? How about paying $150 to send a wire? And not even like you're paying a high fee and you're getting, luxury turnkey service. You're paying that fee and they're taking their time to get back to you. I'm not saying these banks in particular, I'm saying that's the general system. When you go to these offshore jurisdictions that have relaxed the rules, you're going to get more of that. And so my opinion is, get off your tuchus, get on a plane, go somewhere and sit in front of a banker. You'll save money in the long run. You'll certainly save hassle in the long run. If you want to open remotely, these are some banks and some bank-like organizations that I would consider. They're worth taking a look at. Ultimately, it's up to you. For me, I want kind of an onshore, big jurisdiction, institution as my number one bank. These might be secondary. For me, if I'm making a plan for someone, these might be my redundancies. These might be what happens if that bank in Singapore or that bank in Switzerland, if we ever need to use another account, these might be on the list. Personally, I would avoid against remote account opening, but if you're interested in it, those are 5 that you can consider. Hi, I'm Andrew Henderson from Nomad Capitalist. I wrote this book, which you can find on Amazon, to distill a lot of the stuff we talk about in these videos and a lot of the stuff I've learned over the last decade plus traveling all around the world, teaching you about how to legally reduce your taxes, build your personal freedom, and create wealth faster. Definitely get a copy of this book if you want to learn more. Now, if you want to watch more videos, make sure you subscribe to our channel and make sure you click the notifications bell so you never miss one of our new videos with more tips on how to go where you're treated best. And if you're already a 6- or 7-figure entrepreneur and you'd like to put these strategies in place for yourself, go to nomadcapitalist.com and learn about how I can help you.